everybody, I hope you are just as excited as me to get started on the Flosstyle Easy Wrap Sew Along. If you haven't already watched yesterday's prep video, I recommend that you go back and watch that. There are a few hints and tips in there, and let's get going. Okay, so looking at this interfacing, it is a little bit hard to see the difference without being able to touch it. So this is my heavy interfacing. This is a Formfuse 1600, and this is my light interfacing. I can't remember which one this is, but you can see just by me trying to grab it, like I can't get this one to roll around in my fingers. You can see where I've had it folded, it's quite creased, whereas this one here, it's folded, but I can get it to roll around in my fingers there. The crease isn't quite as set as this one, and it's much lighter. So there are a couple of different pieces of your wallet that you're going to need to interface. So the main piece of your wallet that's going to need to be interfaced is the outer. So from here all the way around to here is your outer, and that's going to need to be interfaced with a heavy interfacing. So that's this one. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to put the interfacing over our pattern, trace out the shape that we need onto the heavy interfacing, and we're going to cut it out exactly. Alright, so I have traced my shape onto my heavy interfacing and I've cut it out exactly. You can see that lines up there. The next thing that you want to do is cut out your piece of fabric. So you're going to cut your fabric using the outside line, and then you want to take your piece of heavy interfacing and you want to line it up as per the pattern piece. You want to line it up into the middle of that piece of fabric, and then you want to iron that in place. So the way you want to do that is you want to press and lift, because if you slide your iron along the interfacing while the iron's hot, you're going to stretch that interfacing out of shape and warp the shape of your pattern piece. Now while you are cutting out that piece of interfacing, you should have also cut out another piece exactly the same. And so we're just going to put that off to the side for the moment, and that is going to go onto the back of your card slots once you have folded and sewn them. So that just needs to go off to the side. We're pressing this one onto this piece of fabric, and then we're moving on to the light interfacing for the card slots. So as I mentioned, the light interfacing for the card slots, we're going to do that a little bit differently. So we're going to trace our card slots onto the light interfacing. So we're going to do card slot A. You can see that goes all the way up to the point here, and card slot B. What we're going to do then is cut it out, leaving about a 5mm gap around the outside of our interfacing. We're then going to iron that onto the back of our fabric. We're going to press and lift, the same as we did with the heavy interfacing. Now the reason that this is done a little bit differently with that little bit of an edge is that light interfacing has a tendency to shrink and warp with the heat of the iron. So what we want to do is we want to iron it on, and then we want to either trace or cut out our card pocket, our card slot piece, and we want to cut out our pieces from our fabric using the pattern piece rather than the lines that we've traced on the interfacing. Just in case there is any shrinking or warping of your interfacing, you can't have your card slots being any smaller or a slightly different shape to the pattern piece. They need to match exactly. Alright, and the other pieces of interfacing that you're going to need to cut are a piece for your zip pocket if you're making a zip pocket, and a piece for your wrap outer if you're doing the wrap version. So as you can see, we just want the rectangle there for the wrap outer and the rectangle there for the zip pocket. So these are both cut out of light interfacing, and they'll be ironed onto the pattern pieces after they've been cut out. It's not quite as important for them to cover the whole piece of fabric as it was with your card slots. They're just there to add a little bit of extra support and structure, not like the card slots that need that interfacing to hold their shape. Okay, so now my interfacing is ironed onto my fabric. I've got my pattern piece here. So I just want to use some pattern weights or some pins to hold that in place, place it over the interfacing and cut it out. So as you can see, if I line up this end, even though I've used the heat press to put my interfacing on, the interfacing has stretched just a little bit. So what I need to do is cut it out using the pattern piece, and then all of these lines here for the card slots that we've drawn. We may just have to redraw those to make sure they're in the right spot. You can see just there that they're starting to come out of alignment just there, so that's where it has started stretching, even though I've used the heat press. And then we want to do exactly the same thing for the other side, just flipping that out, and this one has stretched a little bit too. I already checked it, so I'm going to have to cut it out using the pattern piece and redraw those card folding lines. Okay, so now we want to cut out the pieces for our ID pocket. So the first piece that we're going to cut out is our plastic. So you can see I've used a Nico to just draw on my plastic, gone from this blue line to this pink line, and then side to side. So I'm just going to cut that out. It's okay to draw on it in Nico, because once you put the strip of fabric over here and the other bit over here, you're not going to see that, so that's fine. And when I cut it out, I'll just try and cut just on the inside of the Nico line anyway. Okay, so I've cut my card slots out using my pattern piece, and I have remarked the lines onto the pattern pieces so that I can see where I need to fold. So we're going to be folding those tomorrow, but we just need to make sure all of those lines are marked correctly so that we've got those ready to fold. Okay, let's go through all of our pieces now that they're cut and interfaced. So the first piece that you're going to have is your wallet outer. So this is my wallet outer. It's going to be interfaced with a heavy interfacing in the middle of the piece of fabric. The next piece that you're going to have is another piece of heavy interfacing, the same size as that. We're putting that to the side, and that is going to go onto the back of your card slots once they're folded. The next piece that you're going to have is card slot A. So you can see that's just doubled up there. That's quite a long piece. So that's card slot A. The next piece that you're going to have is card slot B. So we're going to fold those and sew those up tomorrow night. Now, if you're making the basic version of the wallet, then that is all of the parts that you're going to need. So you're going to have your heavy interfacing, your outer that's interfaced with a heavy interfacing, your card slot A with a light interfacing, and card slot B with a light interfacing. If you're making the advanced version, the same as the one that I will be making for the sew along, you're also going to have two pieces for your zip pocket. So your zip pocket outer will be interfaced and your zip pocket inner will not be. You're also going to have two wrap pieces. So again, your outer wrap will be interfaced on the wrong side of the fabric. It's very bright fabric, but that's the right side. And your inner, which doesn't have any interfacing at all. The other part that I've got here, this is for the extra optional pocket at the front of the wallet between the card slots and the outer. And then the other pieces that I have are for the ID pocket at the top of the wallet. So we've got this piece here that was cut on the fold, the vinyl for the clear window, and the strip for the bottom. So you can find the measurements for the strip at the bottom on page 23, and you can find the measurements for the extra pocket towards the back of the pattern in the mods section. So tomorrow night we are going to be folding and sewing our card slots. So I hope you are enjoying the sew along so far, and I'll see you again tomorrow night.